Hello. Hey. When Jeffrey asked me to introduce my girlfriend, Michelle, I wasn't really sure what I would say when I was up here, and I still don't really know what I'm saying, I don't think. But I knew that I wanted to say something about writing for the occasion, and I wanted to say something for Michelle about love. I was thinking, and what I came up with is that I've known Michelle for a very long time. We went to the same high school and the same college and now the same graduate school. And now we live together. And as for myself and as for writing, I remember at the beginning of all that time, this sort of lowest stratum version of myself saw poets as these sort of loomingly great figures. Their work had gone out ahead of them, and I had this preconceived notion of their sort of greatness before I stood in front of them, and it took a while to realize that they were human just like me. But I think that knowing Michelle has been a slightly different experience because it's this sort of uncanny realization that all the time around you has been this person who seems made and not born to see the world in this strange and wonderful way, and makes the world around her strange and wonderful because of it. She's my favorite person on the planet. Please welcome Michelle Campagna.
I had no idea that was going to happen. That was great. I was like, why is he getting up? That's so weird. Thank you very much. I want to thank Jeffrey and Nakai and Joanna and Tatiana for all your hard work. This is 6 months of work coming together, and it's fantastic, and thank you for having me read. It's also great to read with Ben and Vijay. It's very exciting. The poems I'm reading today are from my thesis, which is almost done. My thesis is called Master Animal. Figured I'd just read the whole thing, if that's okay with everybody. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. I have about 13 poems, so bear with me. This first poem, I wrote this thinking about what it's like to have a nervous breakdown, which hopefully not many of you are familiar with, but that's what this poem was born out of. What encounters you? You first hear it trailing through the news, the growl of helicopters, the sirens moan drawing close. A Caucasian male, the reporter says, oddly small on the screen. Tearing through your suburb, he's coming, the dampened lawns roused in the yards. Neighbors start phoning other neighbors to ask where cars are parked, to ensure the kids are tucked away. No one you talk to knows what to make of it. His mission is wildly unclear. No money stashed under his clothes, no gunshot wounds slurring the blood of left-behind victims. A chopper splices a thin sheet of sky, blades nearly thwacking your roof. Stars huddle in to get a read on his face. Did he escape from some upstate prison? Was his mind kicked by drugs? No one can figure, not even the tired anchor on TV. Hour after hour slips by. Morning threatens to break. You almost fall asleep in a pint of ice cream. And deep inside those few seconds, your mind a coiled, pacified infant. That is when it happens. One quaking hand tests your window. The other jams its way inside. A live body spilling onto your floor. The man with no message rises, strides up to you. He draws back the shadow of his hood. You see now, he's so close you're reading his skin, that he isn't a man at all, but a floating face, a candy jar of color, motion-sick blue and green, orange bulbous cheeks, red glistening teeth, yellow and violet pooled in the eyes. Of all the frightened houses to pick, it is yours the face has put its finger on, like a stone chosen by God. You are the sad, lucky loser to look it smack in the soul. Your life like a giant door, swung open and torn off the hinge. Your life now permanently rifled with. That was a long one. I don't usually write long poems. This next one is called Survival. Stark sign of the iris appears. At night, I hear the tear of its slow uprooting as it becomes a taste in the dark. From the neighborhood zoo, choral winds translate an animal call. We will swagger from our cages soon. Until then, biding time. Each phase of the moon brands me. Lizard rituals take hold. A bird of paradise unfolds in my mind, baptizing itself with water from the illegal reservoir. This next one is called Post. Dark trilled this place. Bombs bruise the horizon, leave tree-sized sores. I tilt the barrel toward a still warm source, mind searching out dips between a man's knuckles. On my tongue, bright tastes of the Mompo wine used to drown the altar of the burned-down church. Here, blind night's scarred wiring becomes the empty room I touch my way into. This next one is called Firebird, after Stravinsky. There is fire on the forest path. It clears through the body and crosses into the mind. The firebird calls, come, enter. Here it is light. It is golden fruit pecked in the garden of night. It is where the winged obey no laws, where you meet your end head on. This is a lighter poem. I tend to write very serious poems. This one is, I was working on this project. I created this form called an additure, which was kind of the inverse of an erasure. And I was working with Ray Armantrout's book, Money Shot. And so the title and the poem spring from this project. It's called Fast Forward to the Money Shot. And it's in parts. I'll try to pause between the parts. First, we will destroy everything. We'll get rid of the ghosts, such dust. I'll tell you what floating is like. It's like being purely unaware. In the Bible, there is a mark of passage. It goes something like this. You are warned. Winter bulk dissolves into summer. Birds flood the honeysuckle feeder. Each one is a light, each one a cure. Cartoon hunters frolic with cocked muskets. The prayer is simple enough. Maintain the illusion of thinking. The best part's the repetition. Please let me describe my coffee table. Please let me describe my children. I understand your handful of vital poetry. Darkness is dark. Darkness is nothing like light. Darkness sure, whereas light. Visions corkscrew the picture. Divine punch bowl raised to sky-wide lips. Here the snarling, snake-jawed orchids and the fat-headed peonies nod hey you there. Leaves rattle their pure green. Deja vu means daily the hotness of hell. Moths flash mob the camera like a dust cloud. We choose desire the way the lens chooses beauty. I want to die in the amalgam of blue and white. The depressed saxophone moves. This is getting big, getting serious. The next one is called Noise, and there's an epigraph it's a short quote by Robert Sapolsky. He's a primatologist who teaches at Stanford. He talks a lot about stress, and I've been thinking a lot about stress lately, and the stress that we impose on each other, and if any of you live in Brooklyn, you know how noisy it is, and that can be very stressful. Noise. We've evolved to be smart enough to make ourselves sick. Tune of my jackhammer, tune of my tooth-edged saw. The riddle asks, whose ancient brain gets electrified? Arrested pipes groan with waste. I stumble on a Buddhist monk exuding peacefulness, feel an urge to blow back his robes with 115 dBs of Wagner's Valkyries, enough to make a toupee fly, to hose down a body with adrenaline on the inside. If you lob off the snake's head, it'll die. Blast it with a boombox, and its wriggle becomes a dance you can almost recognize. Just a few more. This one is called the Derailed Electric Locomotive. I started to write persona poems, and I ended up writing persona poems in the voice of inanimate objects, and that turned out to be a lot of fun. The Derailed Electric Locomotive. I sleep like an oyster nestled in its estuarine bed. Centuries filter through. I dream I am whipped down the track, steam pouring on arrival at the gates of a human life. The once floating woman is to be my wife. When drillers wake me, the dusked sea is ablaze, gray-white jellyfish flaring with electricity. I think somebody left their pen up here. I don't know whose that is. This next one is another persona poem. It's called What the Mountains Say. They are bipeds with hair focused like moss in coves on the body. Some are tiny. All of them run from the miracle of each other. Worms in fertilizer squish music that goes unheard. Relaxation is called loitering. It takes years for them to laugh at the shapes flowering from the clouds. Weather is a neighbor they bicker with. Though the trees in the yard churn fresh oxygen, breathing gets hard in bed. They panic like pigeons trapped behind glass. They can't even sit without moving their hands. Born with the sun up close, they still forget the stars are relatives. Their first whiff of sky is a memory whisked off by the conveyor belt of living. Their love makes tremendous noise, becomes an echo disappearing in the nameless valley. Maybe I won't read that one. Bear with me through this poem. It's a list poem. I started writing list poems. Moses. Was it virginal? Was it a horn of divine light? Was it a sheep? Did you shepherd it? Was it naked? Was it a sweet sensation? Was it far removed from pleasures? Did it ascend? Was it thorny? Was it the sole antagonist? Did it father you? Was it a profane doctrine? Did it lay bare hidden meanings? Did it bring the desire of the beholder to an end or inflame it? Did it let you see its face and live? Was it a fish, bird, water, air? Did it taste purer than the waters of Mara? Was it the mark of a boundary? Was it a flock of tamed animals? Did it wear sandals? Was it always a step ahead of the one you had just attained? Was it a symbol of waning sense perception? Did you yearn, or were you satisfied? Was it stainless? Did it offer up inner sanctuary? Was it the contemplation of God affected by a voiced-over sight transcending the customary means of the logical? Did it breathe? Did it incite the appetite of irrational animals? Was it a desert? Was it an assault on the mountain? Was it a trumpet blast? Did it progress you in the ways of virtue? Did it separate you from foreigners? Did it burn through every thought and name you ever held for the bush? Was it loudest at the end? This next one is called Barb. Yodeling she dives into the dark oil crick. Lone hawk shatters, becomes a million crows that stream off the modesto ash tree. When she ziplines naked through the bare ravine, cows grow tense with the memory of milkings. She's the gunshot eye full of Maelstrom whiskey. She's the jackboot sullen, covered in rust-colored blood. A dart in a hand pitched back. When far cattle moan, when stars blaze symphonic light, don't swig from her batch of hooch. She's the merciless twang of the boomerang. I'll read one last poem. Kind of ends on a slightly happy note. And you'll hear in the poem something called a Coffin Rocket, which is actually a 30 Rock reference. So, Satellite. When the end of days is here, wrap yourself in your favorite reindeer sweater. Feed the cat, who'll be on the brink herself, and slip into the quiet, unfulfilled night. I'll be circling the globe in my coffin rocket, sending you a clear view of the rest of the universe. Thank you very much.